Leading a dispersed team is not a soft adaptation of in-person leadership. It's its own skill set. Recent research actually names this. It's called Digital Leadership Competencies, and it includes 4 specific things: technical expertise, effective communication, trust building, and the ability to manage social dynamics. All 4 are directly tied to how well virtual teams perform. Today I want to walk you through those 4 competencies specifically: trust, communication, engagement, and performance, and ground each one in research, plus one real example that shows what this is like in actuality. Start with trust. Trust doesn't happen by default at a distance. It has to be built deliberately. A 2025 study on virtual teams showed that leaders need specific skills to build trust. Leaders have to replace face-to-face meetings and physical presence with other alternatives since it's virtual. An employee's trust in their supervisor is tied to a higher self-rated job performance, lower job stress, and higher job satisfaction. So here's what it looks like in practice. For example, take GitLab, GITLAB, one of the largest fully remote companies in the world. Over 2,000 employees, 6 different countries, and 0 offices. They require new hires to schedule 5 virtual visits within their first week. Not project related, just connecting. This builds trust, engineered as a habit, not left to chance. Next, we're going to talk about communication. And here's the research finding that I like the most. It's a 2025 study grounded in social exchange theory. Found when leaders transparently communicate, employees respond with more open collaboration. It's not a one-way broadcast, it's an exchange. GitLab's whole culture runs on this. It's called Handbook First. Any policy change that they have has to be documented before it's announced. And every message links back to that documentation. So people find answers without ever having to interrupt people in real time. The third thing that I want to talk to you guys about is engagement. This is where a lot of remote leadership actually fails, because the small interactions that happen in an office just don't happen anymore. It doesn't exist. Nobody overhears when you're doing good work. Research shows that employees that get active recognition are 3 times more likely to be actively engaged. So because of this, leaders have to make recognition scheduled and explicit, not incidental. GitLab handles this with rituals, which includes daily team calls, informal virtual water cooler events, Ask Me Anything leadership events, and one big annual summit used specifically for communication and connection, not lectures. Lastly, I want to talk to you guys about performance. The research here actually splits the leadership competencies into 2 different parts. Ones that reduce what's called operational distance. This can look like clear goal setting and monitoring, as well as relationship-oriented competencies, such as the facilitator role. This does 2 things. It builds cohesion as well as encourages participation. The research also shows that you need both, not just one. So this means that you need operational distance as well as relationship-oriented competencies. GitLab's version of this is a principle called minimal viable change. This is where employees submit imperfect, early versions of their work, specifically so that teammates know that something's in progress, so that they're working on their project. This happens so that duplicated efforts never become a problem. So here's the through line across all 4. Trust, communication, engagement, and performance. None of it happens by default when a team is dispersed. What used to be ambient, hallway trust building, spontaneous catch-ups, informal recognition, casual oversight, all of that has to be designed now. And that's the real competency shift this era of leadership demands. It's not about doing less because people aren't in a room together anymore. It's about doing more and doing more on purpose. There is a learning curve to leadership in remote positions. It's not traditional. There's a lot to be learned. But leadership can be just as effective in a remote hybrid position as it can be in person. You just have to have the right steps in place and the right plan.